y'all, and welcome back to my channel, Delias Paris, Indian Hen Farm. Listen, I've been playing with my leftover pieces of whatever these are called, index folders. And one of the ideas I love to do with them is just make these little sort of pads. They just have a little bit of paper in them. And they're great for putting in journals. They offer a little bit of journaling space, but they also can pull it out and take it with them. You know, if you're like me, you write the grocery list and then you immediately leave it on the table and go to the store. So I always have a whole bunch of little chunks left. So I'm always trying to think of what else I can do with them. And this isn't rocket science, obviously, but it's a fun project. And I thought we'd do it together. Especially because I'm using it in that last signature, and I'll show you what I'm doing with it once we're done. Okay, so, what is this measure? This is 6 inches long, but I don't worry about measurements when I'm making these. I just use whatever little scrap piece I have. Like I have this one, so I would just decide, fold it down, right? So, and then I did about 1.25 inches before I folded, so I have about that much of a lip. Now, you can do it longer if you want, or shorter. It's up to you. And one of the things I really love about this project is you can really use up a fair amount of your scraps. So, not all of my pieces are scraps. I'd thrown in some papers into my collage bucket. Stuff like this. These little ones that I just... pretty much all I use them for is collage, so I'm just going to tear some out, in fact. Okay. And I'm just going to, I think I like this little rose. So I'm just gonna start gluing. So I'm just doing a little collage here. And I am particular, so I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off because I want more of the picture and not as much of that border. There we go. I know, I can't help it. I really can't. I could if I wanted to, I guess. But it would take all the fun out of it. And I don't go too crazy with the collage. But it's a great way to use up, like I said, your scrappies or papers that you just go, you know what? I never really used these. So let me use it for this. Oh, sorry. I'll get it straight. I'm not sorry. Not sorry. I am sorry. Okay. So there's that. And let's see, maybe... maybe some of this. And I do like to sort of distress some of my pieces. I don't distress everything, just what feels like it needs it. Yeah, I like that. This for me is a project where you get your scrappies out and make a fair number of them because you just kind of get in a groove and just keep going. And collage is one of those things to me that is easier if you do a lot of it than if you do, you know, like one collaged piece. So I actually have a whole stack that I'd made the other day, but we're not going to stress so much about that. And then maybe, see, I love these. I couldn't figure out really what to do with these for the longest time. And then I figured out that I really like them for collage. But, so I have this tiny little spot here. I might have, here's a little scrappy. Throw that on. Let's do it like that. Okay. So I got that, and I'm just gonna cut the excess off. I have glue all over myself. I don't know what's going on with me. I've been a messy craft. You know why? Again, because I'm trying to get too much done at once. That's always what happens for me is I start feeling like I just don't have time to do everything. And then I get wacky. And I do have time, so I'm just being silly. I need to just relax. Okay. Yeah. So not crazy, but looks good. And then I have a whole little pile of these that I just, ow, sorry. I sliced myself open cooking the other day. And I'm trying to be protective of it because it keeps opening up. And that's not fun. Here, let's get it. Just a whole bunch of these. And I just did stamps and then I just distress them. And I think they're perfect for stuff like this. Now, most of the time, I will sew a little around this square. But we're doing this together and we're not going to stress about it. So we're going to use our old little trick. Where is my... Here it is. Ultra fine. Oh, that's a paper mate. Where's the Sharpie? Sharpie. Ultra fine Sharpie. I'm just going to do that. I am probably going to sew my cluster on if I do a cluster, but I do try to be mindful that it's nice to have other. So I'm just going to draw some cool lines. Just to make it a little more interesting. I might even fill in that 5 just a little bit. That's the way I roll. So I know I'm going to put this on here. And I think I want a little fabric clustery thing just to keep it interesting. I've got some of this sitting here. Let's just see. It's a lot, isn't it? Here. Or some of that book cloth I salvaged from a book page, which actually I like better. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to save that for the last part. But let's collage. I do collage the back because if they pull it out, I don't want it to be ugly. So I just flip that up. Let's just have some fun with it. And y'all probably know how to collage. So, you know, you don't have to sit here with me. But sometimes it's fun. Let's do that. And I do big collage. You can do these obviously as master boards, but these are my like scrappy pieces of index folder left. So, and I try to be cautious of this fold. So I'm going to pull it up, get it as close as I can. But I don't actually want to go over the fold because it's just going to wrinkle and probably look a little ugly. And like I said, I don't like that. It bothers me. Okay. Got that off. Let's see what else we got. Maybe piece of that. Let's ink it. Where's my ink? This is supposed to be a 15-minute project. Let's see if I think it's going to go a little over just because I'm doing the collage with you. If I weren't, it wouldn't. But part of the fun for me is just not overthinking it, just doing the process. And also, you know, I know those who are experienced can just fast forward, and those who aren't might enjoy watching the whole thing. Let's put this down here, actually. That. And one more little piece. Ooh, I think it'll work. It's a little... Here, what about... See. Oh, it's this. Oh, that's scrapbook paper. I do kind of try to use the same weights for my papers because, yeah, that works. Because when I'm switching weights, if I like mix scrapbook paper with other weights, it's just not my... Am I still going? I guess we'll see. My computer froze up. I don't know if it's just my computer or the video. I'm going to keep going and pretend like we're still on camera. That's funny. Okay. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Where'd my napkin go? Okay, let's cut that off. Okay. So now we have this and this, right? And I am going to, where's my number? I got this, and I was going to use the book page. I'm going to pause y'all for just 1 second while I sew this on. Okay, so I just sewed that book cloth on. And I'm going to cut my strings. And I'm going to glue this sort of over so it has a little bit of sort of variation there. I just think that's kind of fun. Like I said, a lot of times I'll sew around the square. But we're not going to do that today. We got things to do. Here we go. And I probably could have just glued that on, to be honest. Okay. So, also, I usually will collage this portion because with this sewing, it's a little ugly. But we're just going to grab here. Just grab a little piece of paper. That just looks weird. It's too different. Let's see what I got here. That'll work. You know, I've always felt like details are so important. Just, you know, those little tiny details that make things special. Okay. So just going to put that down. And we'll cut this excess off. I'm going to flip up this fabric so I don't cut it too. And y'all, I do not buy cheesecloth anymore. I just use what I harvest from my books when I take them apart. And it looks, you know, it's the same look. And I get it for free. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm just going to ink around. And we'll ink in here. And one of the things I do love about this index folder is it's that kind of manila-y, yellowy. So by the time you ink it, it looks a little like tea-dyed paper, which is nice. Okay, so we got this look going on. Super easy, right? And now we're just going to take a couple pieces of paper. I happen to have some right here. And I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, and 3. Because I don't want it to be too chunky because I know they're going in my journals. And I kind of struggle with having enough room anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to measure it out. So, see. I'm going to leave a little rim all the way around. There's my dog. Okay, then. Or is that Rusty? I can't even see. And let's just measure a little short. Okay. Just cut it off. I've got a gentleman coming today to set up our generator with our well. Because after Helene, one of the biggest sort of scares with Helene was that we didn't have access to water because our well is on, has an electric, whatever, I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, so, I was like, man, we can live without a lot of things, but we can't live without water. So we're going to have that set up, and that way, even if power goes out or anything, we've always got access to water. Ah, sorry, guys. I'm making a mess of that. There we go. Okay. And now we're just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch right here. Now, I always like to just, I just ink the front one. Just because it's the one you see. And I think it looks nicer. I've got my, where are you? Oh, are you in the other, you're in the other one. Hold on. Here it is. I'm sure y'all know how to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but just in case, got my needle right here. I've got some wax linen thread. 1, 2, 3. Get out of the way. And you know, for something this thin, you might not even need your awl. This awl is the one from Linco on Amazon, and it's my favorite out of all the awls. And if you saw how many awls I have, you would laugh. Okay, so we're going to do 3 holes, right? We're going to do 1 kind of in the middle. I'm going to eyeball it. 1 a little in, maybe 1/2 inch. And 1 1/2 inch on the other side. So I have 3 holes. Because I want my bow on the outside, I'm going to start on the inside. So I'm going to go in this hole. Whoop. Up. Hold that with my finger. Go to the next hole. I'm going to skip this middle hole now and go to the far hole. Now I'm going to go out the middle hole, making sure I do not come up through my thread, because it'll, if I split my thread, it can get it all yucky. Then I'm just going to tie a bow. Ah. And cut off my excess. And there we go. And let me just shorten that one a little. Okay, there we go. So you can put this under a book. If it's going to sit in a journal for a while, it'll flatten out. And that's just a really quick and easy collaged, you know, using up our scraps to make a little pad that goes in the journals. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with it here in just a minute. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank you.